I was a pinch this week and only had a few days to record, type up, and edit a review. So when that happens, I look to my stash of NES games for something I haven't done yet. In this case, I decided on Jackal, a fairly well-known Konami run and gun with some unconventional ideas, mostly that instead of controlling a walking commando or a flying ship, you're driving around a jeep throwing an infinite supply of grenades at tanks. When you first start up the game, you get a splash screen of text that goes by extremely quick. So much so that you're probably going to have to let the game idle at the title screen for at least 2 times. I'm going to read it out aloud because why not? Your brothers in arms are hostages behind enemy lines, and you're their only hope for freedom. But the firepower you'll face to rescue them is awesome. Rescue the POWs in the buildings. You'll need a pocket full of miracles and the ferocity of a wild jackal. Wow, that's epic. Awesome firepower? A pocket full of miracles? Sounds like cheesy dialogue from an 80s action film. But we have Lieutenant Bob on our side, so we'll win, damn it. When you press start, you're given one final screen before getting thrust into the game. A map screen, and a line of, "This battle will make your blood boil." I don't know about that. The game may be challenging, but not enough to make my blood physically boil. I can only imagine that as being excruciatingly painful. Anyway, as I said, you control a jeep around and get 3 different ways to defend yourself. By pressing B, you'll shoot your gun straight ahead, and with A, you'll lob grenades into the direction you're facing. More on that later. Finally, although it's not really an attack that can be used in everything, you can run over enemy troops. Granted, now that I think of it, the enemy troop size feels a bit off compared to the jeep. Then again, so did the tanks. I'm pretty sure tanks are larger than jeeps. Oh well. Anyway, the jeep's machine gun can only be fired in the northern direction, which is definitely a bit strange. However, you can fire it quickly, so although many enemy vehicles may take more than 1 bullet for destruction, you can normally shoot these faster. So if you miss a grenade lob, you still have a method of protecting yourself, as long as you can maneuver your jeep in the proper way. However, with the grenades, you have to turn your vehicle to be facing the way you want to fire in. The Jeep controls somewhat realistically for the era the game was developed in that it kinda needs to spin around. Don't worry though, it doesn't take long to get used to. Before I talk more about the grenades, I should mention that you can upgrade your ranged weapon. As you're driving around, you'll see small buildings that you can blow up. Most of them are going to contain your brothers in arms, and if you can get close to them, they'll jump in your Jeep. By finding the chopper near the end of the stage, you can dump off the POWs to get airlifted out for bonus points. Be warned though, that if you lose a life while driving around the rescued hostages, you'll lose a few and the remaining ones will run around the stage until you can rescue them again. Other buildings, on the other hand, will only contain 1 hostage, and he'll be flashing. By giving him a ride, your projectile will upgrade. Each flashing dude you pick up will increase its power, and will level up 3 times. Starting with the grenades, the first pickup will change that to a faster moving missile. The next guy will give that missile some splash damage that will damage enemies that may be horizontal to the initial blast point. The final upgrade will improve that to also damage the enemies vertical to the end point. This makes the game much easier, but if you die at any point, you lose all upgrades and will have to start over. Here's the thing, it's very easy to die in the game. There are plenty of ways the game is lenient with its difficulty. Upgrades are somewhat plentiful. Foot soldiers will flash before firing, so you can know if it's safe to run them over. Many enemy projectiles, especially homing missiles, can be shot down. But there are 2 big things that cause the game to get to that almost blood-boiling level that requires a pocket full of miracles. For one, the Jeep moves fairly slowly. Thankfully, bullets move slow too, but sometimes I just wished I could go a bit faster so I could outrun the enemy shots. But even more frustrating is the fact that you have to get very close to the left or right of the screen in order to move it that way. Enemies are relentless and can fire at you immediately, so by being this close to the edge of the screen, it's very easy to not be able to react properly to defend yourself. Yeah, you could just try to move exclusively vertically, but then you're going to be missing out on the hostages and power-ups. Granted, if you shoot precise areas of the map, you might uncover a star that fully maxes out your projectile shot, but you'd have to know exactly where to shoot. So yes, the game does get challenging, but you do get a few continues, and Konami throws you a bone and starts you off with 5 lives. The stages are also fairly short, able to be completed in that matter of minutes. The map shown at the start and between each stage may look large, but you'll notice that you move through it quickly. Even so, I cannot for the life of me get past the 4th stage. Granted, I didn't play the game as much as I normally would for a review, so I feel I can get through it with a few more attempts, but the 4 or 5 times I tried, I got stonewalled on that level. The only other things that are really left to talk about are the audio and visuals. The visuals are fantastic, and are typical Konami. Lots of explosions, barren enemy camps, detailed bosses, and there's also some minor destructible environments, as you can blow up the pillars in the stage and watch them roll around. Don't run into the debris though, as it will kill you. The audio is also typical Konami, and has their trademark sound. There's some heavy bass and catchy riffs. I can't really say much else about it, other than it being good. What can I say? I prefer talking about gameplay rather than sound. Jackal is a great game. It may not be as difficult as the typical NES hard stereotype, but it's not going to allow you to just breeze through the game. Either way though, if you're a fan of old school overhead running guns, Jackal is a must play. Check it out if you have the means. Final score? 8 out of 10. This is Reaper. Happy fragging.